morning, good evening.
Good evening, good morning.
So, I'm assuming, based on the conversation that we had last week, you had a conversation with Josh.
Yeah.
How'd that go? Walk me through it.
That was... Yeah, I psyched myself up for that conversation, actually.
Okay. And when you say psych yourself up, what do you mean?
I dropped the kids at kindy, and then I text him saying, "Oh, I need a pick. Oh, I needed to put some meat in his freezer, because it's the done thing in New Zealand. Everybody has home kill and venison and cattle floating around in pieces. So I had to put some meat in his freezer.
So that's not a euphemism?
No. What do you mean? A guy rocked up today with half a sheep. We got some chops in the freezer. Like, I got 20 kilos of venison on Sunday off another mate. We just pass around dead animals all day.
But like, do they hunt them? Like,
yeah, some of them like raise them on the farm and then they just dispatch them. Other people hunt. Venison's typically hunted. Obviously, sheep and mutton. That was what it was today, not lamb. And beef. Right. Anyway, so I called in at his after kindy to drop that off, and then I said, "Oh, should we get coffee?" And he's like, "Yeah, sweet, let's do half an hour." So I went home, and then I went and met him for coffee. Because we've actually got so much stuff happening business-wise at the moment. To the point, a guy asked if told Josh I was at risk of burnout, which was quite interesting.
Who told Josh that?
So in the last 6 weeks, we've had a company in Australia that run like an emotional intelligence platform. It sits over your tech stack and then reads all your Slack messages and gives you weekly reporting on individual people and well-being, psychological well-being, all that sort of shit. And Josh had the first catch-up yesterday where they reviewed 3 weeks of data, and it said he said, are you guys working long hours, or is the data up to fuck? And Josh was like, nah, we're starting at 8, finishing at 10 at the moment, kind of vibe. Anyway, he was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense, because one of you is borderline burnout or burnt out already from the index." So that was quite interesting, and that came after our conversation at the cafe. So going back to the cafe, I rocked up with that homework on my mind, and then as I walked through the door, I saw that Josh was with Risma, and I was like, "Oh, this has become a thing, where Josh goes, Risma follows, because obviously she is only here for 2 months. I get it." And I was like, "Oh, is this a blocker or is it not?" And then when I sat down, I was like, "Yeah, it's a bit of a blocker."
What makes it?
I felt like it was an intimate conversation that didn't need to be a 3-way conversation.
Okay. So what made you uncomfortable voicing that?
Huh?
What made you uncomfortable voicing that? Because the solution in that moment, if you feel uncomfortable with having that conversation with Risma there, is simply telling her, "Hey, I want to talk to Josh about something quite personal. And do you know her particularly well? Not really, right?"
No, not really. Yeah, I've probably seen her 10 times in the 12 months they've been dating.
Yeah. So you're well within your right to say, "Hey, I want to talk to Josh about something quite personal. I'd really appreciate it if we could have this conversation by ourselves now, and then I'm happy to have a conversation with you and Josh after the fact, but I kind of just want to talk to my mate for a little bit. Is that okay?" And so long as she's a reasonable person, she'll say yes. But, too little too late. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I guess in the moment it was more I'm being an inconvenience asking her to kind of depart the building, or I don't know, go and sit at another table, which was a bit maybe a bit strange. I don't know.
all human experience is deference to inconvenience. Keep going.
Maybe if Josh knew that the conversation was coming,
Yeah,
I would have felt more confident with the ask. But anyway, so what transpired was we talk about business, work on website stuff and all this other shit, and then she actually put her headphones on, like sat on the phone scrolling.
right.
So I was like, yo, there's just something I need to talk to you about. And that's where we got into conversation. There's an opportunity to come up to buy the remnants of Adam's business. And I'd be keen to discuss it with you, as opposed to saying like, and I'm going to choose to take him up on it. Like, it was more of like, can I get your opinion and validation that this is a good idea, as opposed to like, this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Which I only kind of got to after the fact when I was discussing it with Yasmin. Anyway, so then we started to share about it, and he reacted just in a way that like this was so left, like this was not even on the radar, like within his realm of possibility that I would ever come to him with something like this. So quite a confused thing, and then he kind of just he didn't act like a dick at all, but it was more just lines of like, okay, so what does it entail? One of the crux of his question was like, is that really what you want to be doing, like accounting and finance? Which I thought was valid. So he was trying to understand, I guess, like the decision flow of like, why would I look to jump on that as opposed to ramp amped now that like the foundations are solid for scaling. Which then I felt like I was justifying like why it was a good opportunity. And then yeah, like throughout it, you know, when you asked me like that whole allegiance question, and you know, found it quite hard to answer at the time, he was like, well, obviously, like you've got to choose a family over anybody else. Like that's kind of, and you guys need to, you know, it's that decision that you guys need to make a decision in the best interest of yourselves, kind of thing. Which way I thought that was kind of like Josh's reasonable side. So I left the conversation kind of feeling two different things. One, I don't know if I was expecting more of like, oh yeah, that sounds like sick, like you should probably jump on that kind of vibe. So it was probably my own fault for setting that expectation with myself. And then secondly, I also left it feeling like we're actually on a really good path with Amped, like where we're currently at and where it's going and what we've built, and like we're like so close to kind of blowing up. Is how I left the conversation. And I feel like I get that validation from him a lot. Like if I'm in a bit of a doom and gloom space with, I don't know, cash flow or like the growth of the business, and then I discuss it with him and he's like, yeah, but we've been doing this and this. So I left it kind of feeling quite positive just about Amped in general, which like we've gone on this week and there's some really cool stuff happened. And then also I explained the whole like feeling, or the discussion we had around leading versus being led in the Amped context, and he was like, yeah, right, that's quite interesting on how you perceive it. I got into the whole like, you know, how I view the skill set that he's developed is like this really high income kind of, how do you describe that term? Like, you know, like we hone in on something that is not a high income skill. No, what?
You're gonna have to give me more context, fella.
What's like the buzzword for like when people go and develop a skill? Or do you know like how people talk about online closing and it's like a high income skill?
Yeah.
And I said,
think
like, the whole, the AI development that you've done and the automation understanding, and then, you know, like a really high income kind of skill set, and like you could go and set up an agency and kind of blow that apart. And I actually discovered that I don't want you to win if I don't win. And his immediate thing was like, yeah, but I would never go and do that. Like, I would never.
Yeah.
It's never been on my radar to do that. I couldn't deal with all the back end shit that you deal with that enables me to kind of be this impulsive, go on code all day or not, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was kind of referencing you with like your sales coaching, your mindset stuff, psychology stuff. Like, I perceive that as a really high income skill when you're dealing with me. And then I'll look at myself and think like, well, what the fuck have you got to sell? Kind of thing. So that was how I opened this conversation with him. And then he was like, yeah, but if you think of like all fucking shit that goes on within the business that I don't have to deal with, touch, know that you've just kind of got it covered. It's like, yeah, maybe you can't tangibly like put a label on it that it's this. He said, but without all of that stuff getting dealt with, the client relationships, the accounts, all the fires that you put out, like the whole thing falls over. So then in that moment, I felt kind of like almost seen a little bit. Like, fuck yeah, I do have a place in what we're doing, and yeah, you are right. And then kind of what's transpired since then, this maybe week. Anyway, so it wasn't a super concentrated conversation around the accounting firm opportunity. That's how it began. And then it kind of morphed into, you're kind of talking shit because you do this, this, and this. And then I wouldn't go and set up an agency because I can't deal with that. Anyway, ultimately kind of left at like, you know, you've got to kind of make the decisions that you feel are best for you and the family. So we departed ways, and to be totally frank, like, we've not actually discussed it since. And I don't know if that's the right thing or wrong thing. I spoke to another guy, and he was like, "Oh, you should probably like just pick it up and not kind of leave it."
I would agree with that.
Josh has sent me like a massive to-do list on yesterday, which it's usually me sending him like, this is the shit we've got to cover this week. But he sent me one, and then within it was like, get clear on Alex's plan, or get clear on Alex's direction so I can future plan, was one of the things, but we've not spoke about it. Which has been interesting me. Well, two things, because he never ever sends like a to-do thing through, and then he included that, and which has then kind of made me think like, what does that actually trigger for him?
I think defensiveness is probably the obvious one.
Because the whole way through the discussion, it was never framed in like a this or that choice. Like, in my mind, it could be a stretch, but they could run. I say there's obviously the fucking dumpling shit in the background. However, we've got 4 serious stage 3 leads, so that's positive. Anyway, like, for me, it's like looking at my current day-to-day and workload, like, it could slide in quite seamlessly. Maybe 8 or 9 months down the line, when things may feel, I don't know, maybe busier, or I don't know. That's the other hard thing, is like gauging what life's actually going to look like in 8 months' time when this comes to fruition. And I've struggled with that quite a bit.
Okay.
Anyway, so we had that conversation, and since then I've actually sent Adam, who owns the firm, maybe like 25 DD questions across various facets of the business to actually understand like inner logistics of it. Because he also, post our call, he video called me on Friday and said, I'm just waiting on an appraisal from a broker, just to give me kind of a plan B if you decide this isn't a good fit for you. I said, oh, well, listen, I've not really thought about it much. I've only just spoke to Josh. Give me the weekend to think on it. Got to Sunday afternoon. I hadn't thought about it. And then I'm thinking, what the fuck do I actually think about this? Bombarded him with a bunch of DD on Monday, which I've not heard back on yet. But I don't know when I will. So A bit of a soup.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning and then we'll work through it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. At its core, the reason you are considering buying this accountancy firm is what?
It's to provide me with more income to contribute to like quality of life and nest egg stuff for the family.
Okay.
Future planning.
So this is fundamentally a decision that you are making for the benefit of your family. Okay. As a result of making that decision, what are the logistical or required machinations from you that go along with running this accountancy firm?
Machinations meaning what? Can we tone down the vocabulary here? Some of us are from Wigan, you know.
Think of that as like mechanical processes.
Yeah.
What are the required things that have to go into it?
Part of the unknown. That's what's tripping me out a little bit.
Okay.
I think at the core, I'm going to have to become an accountant.
How come?
Because there is.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm going to have to fucking sit there and be like, yo, David, I'm pulling your end of financial year books together.
Why?
Because that.
Buy a job.
Well, that is essentially, that is a component of what exists with this firm right now.
Is he does the books.
Founder is responsible for 200 of the 333 clients that will be inherited.
I mean, that adds a whole new lens onto this discussion that you never mentioned.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, Adam is not sat there and this firm runs without him. Adam is actively involved in delivering end of financial year.
How many accountants would you need to payroll in order to not touch any of those books?
I reckon. Nah, hang on. I reckon 500 hours. Sorry, just doing some quick maths.
Not very quick.
I reckon one offshore accountant potentially.
Okay, so then let's hedge our bets and say 2.
Yeah.
Fine. How much does an offshore accountant cost?
It would cost Muggins about 30k. It costs me maybe 19.
Fantastic. So that's 38 grand in offshore accounting costs. Is that annual or monthly? Annual, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So you now don't do 350 net profit. You do 300.
Yeah.
Fine. So consequently, you can absolutely not do 200 sets of accounts, and you can just hire for this.
Yeah.
Right. So let's not add into the required machinations of what your job entails, 200 sets of accounts, when there's profit in the business that you can hire for.
Yeah, correct. That is a possible structure, correct, but that's not how it operates at the moment.
Okay.
And is that how do you make that be a thing? And this is probably an ops thing. How do you make that be a thing prior to taking over, so that you're not actually taking over and doing that? I don't think that exists.
What do you mean?
Well, I imagine I'd have to take ownership of the business to then start making changes around ops process, understanding workflow.
For sure.
Unless I get to grips with that the 3 months prior to transition, which he's inviting me to do.
Yeah.
So no, you're absolutely right. There is scope to structure it, synergizing with Amped, where I'm not delivering the work.
As a requirement for this acquisition to be logical for you, you should be doing the actual accounting work.
I should or shouldn't, sorry.
Absolutely should be doing none of it. Remember, think about this, right? The way that I would have you think about this is, imagine you are buying a machine that for every time you click a button, money comes out.
Yeah. And I understand that. Yeah.
Right. Well, if you're the one manually pressing the button, the machine is only as worthwhile as your time is, because it takes you time to sit and press the button, right? Okay. Well, if you hire someone for half the value of the money that comes out of the machine to sit and press the button all day, is that a useful, worthwhile investment?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how much money comes out. Because if it's 1 penny and you make half a penny per button press, and you do the maths on that, and you're like, well, it's going to cost me 100 grand to acquire the thing, I'm not going to break even for a year and a half. No, it's not a useful investment. You are buying a cash flowing vehicle.
Yeah.
A cash flowing vehicle that requires your time to physically do the thing is infinitely less valuable than a cash flowing vehicle that may make less money, but doesn't require your active role in doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to view your time as money. There is a massive difference between you leading an organization and doing all of the stuff that you're already good at and doesn't really add that much of a lift because it's not quote unquote technical work, versus you going into a business and having to do the technical work that would take you theoretically 500 hours over the course of the year, which is what, 40 hours a week? Yeah, it's literally a whole extra job. Well, if you're doing this for the benefit of your family, but now you're working 40 hours a week extra, who's benefiting? Because it's not fucking them, because they don't see you anymore. So as a basic prerequisite of your acquisition of this business, it only makes sense if it's a purely cash flowing vehicle that adds, even if it adds half of your current workload. I mean, actually, no, considering that you're apparently at risk of burnout. So we need to deal with that. We need to deal with that. How many hours a week do you work as of right now?
Oh, I would say most days I'll do 9 till 4, and then in the last couple of weeks it's been like 7 till 10 when the kids go.
So 9 till 4, does that include lunch, or are you eating at your desk?
No, I'll sneak away and put something in the air fryer.
But then do you eat at your desk?
Yeah, predominantly.
Okay, so then you're not taking a lunch. You might go in and chuck something in the air fryer for 15 minutes.
Yeah, but then I might like wander in there for like 15 minutes and piss Yasmin off and come back in here. Like, it ebbs and flows through the day. But right now, like in terms of being sat here, look at the screen, it's what 9 till 4 is what 3, 7 hours. Yeah, it's about 10 hours a day at the moment.
Right.
But it hasn't been that for a long time. It's only been since recent developments.
Right, fine. However, if you add half of that,
yeah,
so between 3 and 5 hours a day extra to that, you now end up working 10 to 15 hour days.
Yeah.
You have 3 kids and a wife. Do you want that? I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It's not up to me to mandate how many hours a day you work.
No, not at all.
You want?
Not at all. Well, the conversation I had with myself was that it might take 12 months to get in there and systemize it, really understand the ops, really understand the people that I inherit, to restructure it. And is it worth 12 months of a couple of days in the office to achieve what the cash flow that comes out the other side if I do restructure it? But I've just got some apprehension around, I suppose when you speak with like a founder operator, they not exaggerate, but everything revolves around them, and my emails do this and that, the other. Like most of the time, like it's a lot of shit, really.
Yeah,
it's just the client relationship side. So Adam has built this kind of ethos, like you go in, it's not a modern, sleek fucking accountant firm vibe. It's like horrible cedar panels. It's like a tradey kind of vibe. He gets They come in once a year. So he only engages with his clients once a year. They
How
come
come?
in once a year to sign off the accounts.
Yeah.
Sits down with them. They walk in. It's this like dungy little office where so they feel like there's a bit more like tradey kind of value add, not fucking sleek and smells of bleach kind of I don't know. So he's just built this like process where he tries to get clients in the office once a year.
Sure.
And that's what was appealing to me because it's like, well, they're not in there every fucking day. People dropping in, fucking off, da 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 da. Like he could run this from home realistically, but he likes the isolated space for work, which I get. So back to my apprehension thing. I don't know. It's more, what if I say yes to this and then all of a sudden, like I find myself in this soup of fuck, you're drowning with all this extra shit you got to do. But then, like, I've actually inherited the skills over the last 10 years to really systemize it. Potentially fuck the contractors off that currently work with him and stick some offshore stuff in.
The situation, I think what's most likely, or no, not most likely. I think the situation that you would find yourself in that would be most preferable is all of the DD that you have asked for comes back and is reasonable in terms of like pure financials, operation stuff. Like it all makes sense, but you can spot the inefficiencies a mile out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. At that point, you have the subsequent. When is he trying to sell?
He wants, essentially by the end of August, he wants like a plan locked in, and then transition date would be the 1st of April next year.
Fine. So realistically, let's say you have what, 3.5 plus, you have 7.5 months.
Yeah.
So you do your LOI, you do all of the necessary paperwork and whatever, and you have, a structure and a plan done. And then from Jan 1, your entire job is you learn all of the bits and bobs associated with it, and you hit the ground running April 1. But if you can do enough strategic planning and enough like back end research on what's going on currently over that period, there's nothing stopping you from never having to do a single set of books. And at the point in which you don't have to do a single set of books, the perceived load of what you're going to have to do decreases massively.
Yeah.
And I say that because you're already working a fair amount within AMPT, doing the same things you'd be doing over there. It's not like you have to do your AMPT job and then be an accountant. Because I think that would add a lot more mental load than keeping with the same fundamental task basis and applying it to one and the other. Because 40 hours a week of accounting plus what you're doing at AMPT, if you're not burnt out now, you definitely fucking will be. So just be mindful of that, right? Like, I think it is way smarter for you to do the same type of job in 2 different places than it is to have one job over here that's one set of skills and another job over here that's one set of skills, and then have to try and actually build and structure and re-op the existing failures within this business that you've acquired. I do not think it's sensible for you to be an accountant and a business owner on one side of a business and try and lead AMPT and grow AMPT. Because again, the goal here is do both, not one or the other. If you wanted to suck off AMPT, then yeah, crack on, go and be an accountant and do that way, fine. But you're not trying to do that. So structuring it in your mind as, well, I'm going to have to sit and suffer through doing it until we can fix it, put that as a viable solution in your mind. And I don't think that's helpful. I think if you want to go acquire this business, it has to be through the lens of, there is no world in which I do a single set of accounts. And if you do that, then it gives you the license to be like, yeah, I can quite easily do both, because all I'm going to be focused on is strategy and ops on this side, strategy and ops on that side. That cumulatively is probably going to be 10 hours a day. Walk me through the logic. What's going on in your head?
I don't really know what is going on in my head. It's interesting when you frame it that way, because throughout, like, with thinking about this whole idea, I've been telling myself, like, oh, you've got the background to pick this up and do it, i.e., do the work, and kind of justifying it that way, and tell myself that, like, restructuring it from the start would be, how can you restructure something if you're not, as of right now, kind of, I don't know the ins and outs of practice accounting. Obviously, I understand the principles of accounting and that can run company accounts, but
Have you never worked in an accountancy?
no. So I've always been in industry. So
You were in-house somewhere.
yeah. So I've always gone like that finance manager, FD, CFO kind of route, rather than practice manager, fucking partner, whatever they do. So there are, if I was to do it, and that's where I was saying, like, the 3-month handover would be me actually learning the nuances of, it's essentially tax, isn't it? But I could always, like you said, I could always just fucking hire somebody with the background offshore. Like, that would not be an issue.
I mean, yes, you could do that.
I could do that without myself like fully understanding dividend distributions and fucking trust structure and all that sort of stuff. It's just, if I was ever faced with that line of questioning, I'd be like fucking sinking.
So let me understand the demarcation between the two. So you've worked within an accounting function of a business doing business accounting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Within this accounting practice, you have both personal and business accounts, I assume.
It's going to be majority business and trust accounting. But then obviously when you distribute shareholder salaries, you trigger personal income tax threshold. So that would be a lot of, like, this was your company profit, we brought this off, right, we've got this amount to distribute, we're going to say give you 60k, your wife 40k, because overall your terminal tax, fucking bullshit.
Why are you doing any of this? You don't need to know any of it.
My current
the
vision that I had until this discussion was that I would essentially step into Adam's shoes and deliver until I knew enough to hire somebody to delegate over.
If you had worked in a, like, practice accountancy, that idea has legs.
Yeah.
But you haven't. Therefore, that idea is stupid.
But it's just fucking numbers, right?
It's the equivalent of asking why someone who is good at rugby doesn't immediately just go and transfer to American football. Is it possible? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it likely? No. Why? Because they're fundamentally different games.
Yeah.
Right? You are in a position where you are, again, acquiring this as a button that spits out money. It's not your job to worry about how the machine works.
Okay, so I need to drop any attachment to this, how this thing works, you think?
Okay.
It's not a good idea for me to start learning so I can have these high-level conversations about tax.
People spend their entire lives working in this industry, yes?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, right. And you think you're some kind of super fucking IQ genius that you're just going to pick it up in 6 months and blag it? I'm all for fucking absolutely blind faith confidence. You know me. I am blind faith confidence until the day that I die. But there comes a point where, like, you then just have to pick the route that is going to take you towards doing less stupid shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
this is one of those moments.
Like, I totally get it. I think I started to fall in love with being able to upskill and actually hold conversations.
No.
Which is
okay.
Okay.
Put it this way, right? I'm trying to think of an example of like football team owners who aren't giant knobs. Perfect. Okay. The two American actors, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, who bought Wrexham.
Yeah.
How much they know about football? Fuck all. They know nothing. They know absolutely niche. They don't need to know anything about football. They don't need to have worked in a football fucking club to understand that marketing plus sales equals more money.
Yeah.
Do you understand that basic principle?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand how this specific type of accounting firm runs? No. Do they understand how a football club runs? No. What do? Hired. They used the capital that they had and their basic understanding of that principle and applied it to this thing. Do the same thing. You know how to scale any online service-based business, yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it? Dummy's guide. How do you do it?
Systemize it and staff it.
Okay, great. And then when it comes to the marketing and sales aspect,
no, we've not got that big a sussed. That's where it falls over. Would I be fucking going great if I had that suss, David? Are you taking the piss?
Your bad genetics are your own fault, mate. Let's not include that in anything. Marketing and sales is simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, right? And with something like an accounting company, you run off referrals. That's primarily how accounting firms run, right? Okay. Well, is your goal to be a local or a national accounting firm?
It's local.
Fantastic. Then local ads. Do local focused marketing. You can use Facebook ads. You can use Google ads. You can use fucking spots on newspapers. If people, I'm assuming New Zealand is like 50 years behind the rest of the world. So newspaper adverts.
We've got a few electronic billboards now, so
there you go, right? You got electronic billboards. Use those, right? But
we've got football teams. Nah.
So like you can use local focused advertising, right? And then it's the same stuff that Hormozy et al. Have been talking about forever, which is have an offer. That offer needs to convert. What's the conversion mechanism? Make the conversion mechanism as low friction as possible. Okay, cool. You now have you have marketing, you have an offer, you have a conversion mechanism, you have a scalable productized service. This thing does not need to grow by any insane rate. You're not trying to take this from being how much does it do currently?
330
in rev.
Oh, rev 550.
Okay. If you double this business in the next year by systemizing it, productizing it, cutting some costs, and adding in some marketing channels, so it's not all referral based, is it feasible that this business grows to $1 million?
It's already at $1 million.
You just told me rev was 500.
I'm purchasing 550 of it. Yeah. Sorry, but the business is 1.2 at the moment. So yeah, it's totally possible.
So when you say you're purchasing 550, what do you mean by that? You're not purchasing the whole business.
No. So Adam's moving away. He's taking 100K of the billing with him because that services entities that he's invested in.
Right.
His father, who's mid-60s, doesn't want to work for somebody else, so he's taking the 250K that he services and just going to do that from home with his wife and fucking, I don't know, pass away at some stage.
Understood.
So what is left of 1.2 million?
Right. Okay. 500. Understand.
Yeah, like the core foundation of the business is what's left. There's a contract leaving, taking her billing with her, Mark's leaving, and yeah.
Fine. So the base premise of this is the business is currently worth 1.2, but that is contracting because all these people are leaving.
Correct, yeah.
Understood. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So theoretically, I'm back to the same fucking question because you just chose not to answer it. If you double the business that you are buying,
yes, sir,
to $1 million,
yeah,
is that, and it's fully productized and systemized, and there's an actual acquisition channel.
Yeah.
Does that become an acquirable entity for someone else?
Yeah, Absolutely.
Right. You don't need to grow this so it's the biggest accounting firm in whatever region of New Zealand that you live in. You need to grow it so it's acquirable, and then you can get some cash in the door, and then you just milk the cow until it's done, ready to be sold. Again, you are not becoming an accountant. You are investing in cash flow. You have this idea in your head that you are going to go and become an accountant.
Yeah.
No, you are currently a business owner, right? Your identity is business owner, not Alex, the transient individual who's trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
You are already a successful business owner twice. You don't need to be Alex, the accountant who owns businesses. No. You're already a business owner. This is a cash flow vehicle. You're buying it because you know that there are inefficiencies that you can solve that give you cash flow that allow this to be a sellable entity for more cash flow. Right? Now, if you then said, actually, if we sell it for what, $1.1 for every billable dollar, and I make $1 million, that's not enough, and I want more. Well, you could go and do the same thing again, and you go out and buy another rinky-dink local accountancy, and you rinse and repeat, and then you become a PE firm, right? But again, the goal here is you do not do the thing. The thing has to be done without you.
Yeah.
The thing has to work, and the thing has to be done without you. And if both of those things are true, then it's probably a smart investment for you to make. But there is zero value if you go in and be an owner operator if you have zero basis of understanding of the thing that you're trying to do, right? So, for example, let's say that I wanted to go and buy a SaaS company. Well, I've already run a SaaS company. I know what goes into running a SaaS company at least fairly well. It didn't go anywhere and it imploded, but that was less because of me and more because of the tech. That's fine. But I understand what it takes to run a SaaS company. Well, if that's the case, I can go and pretty comfortably buy, within a reasonable, rational level, a very small SaaS and know how to scale it. And then if I do that multiple times and then sell on the associated roll-up, if they're all in complementary industries, that is then the exit vehicle for me. I do not have to give a shit about the thing or know anything about the thing. Okay, have you ever heard of the green lumber fallacy? Okay, story goes, trader on Wall Street, he is not particularly bright, not the best trader in the world by any means, right? He's kind of in the lower bucket of the trading floor. And one day, they're looking at the rankings of who made the most money, and this fella, who's normally basically right slap bang at the bottom, is in the middle of the table, and everyone goes, "Oh, he's had a good day. That doesn't really happen. That's weird. Okay, interesting." Next day, lo and behold, he's climbed up another couple of places, so he's now well within the top 50%. And the rest of the traders are like, "What's he doing now? This is rare. This never happens." Third day in a row, he's now pushing up towards the top 10, and now everyone's interested because this shouldn't have happened, because the working theory is he's immoral. Day 4, day 5, whatever I said. The next day, he's now very firmly within the top 10, and now people will start to get curious, but no one wants to go and ask him. After a week, he is leading the pack by such an absurdly severe margin that someone goes and asks him, "What the fucking hell are you doing that you are outclassing people who are better traders than you?" And they look at his screen, and lo and behold, he's trading green lumber. You know what green lumber is? Raw, unprocessed wood. Like fresh from the saw. Nothing's happened to it, right? It's basically felled trees.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're like, "Why the fuck are you trading green lumber?" And he goes, "Well, it's already been painted, so I figured it'd be worth more." And they go, "That's not what green lumber is." He's like, "Oh, okay, it's fucking working." You don't have to understand the thing to be able to take advantage of the thing.
Yeah.
What you are doing as of right now is buying cash at a discount. That's reason number one. Reason number two, you are buying, remember that machine that every time you press a button, money comes out? Okay, cool. Well, someone's offering you to buy this machine because it's broken. They don't know that you know how to fix this broken machine. And instead of coming out with $1 bills, it comes out with $5 bills as soon as you fix it. So not only are you buying cash at a discount, you're buying something that is broken that is fixable by you. Do you need to know where the paper in the machine comes from? No.
No.
It doesn't matter. Do you need to know the wood that the box that holds the machine is made from? No. Because your goal is to buy it at a discount, fix it so it works, and then sell it on to some other fucker for 5 times the value. But at the moment, you've fixated on this idea of you becoming an accountant. And that is why all of the associated fuckery that goes along with buying this business is the thing clouding your judgment. But if it was just ones and zeros, would you buy it? If you knew you had to do absolutely zero of the accounting?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, then work under the premise that you have to do zero of the accounting and it becomes a very easy decision to make. What would make you want to make your life needlessly difficult? We go back to the original question. When are you going to be done trying to prove yourself? So, would you rather prove yourself and become an accountant and learn the thing and do the thing? Wow, congratulations. You now have 200 accounts you need to do every year. Or would you rather do the thing that you've been doing now for what, 7 years?
Yeah.
That you are, by Josh's own definition, extremely good at, invaluable at Amped. Would you not rather just go and do that again somewhere else for a much larger payday? Or alternatively, you could learn how to be a practice accountant from the ground up in 7 months and then do 200 sets of books a year. One of those to me sounds sensible. The other one sounds absolutely bloody ridiculous.
So you wouldn't take that offer?
What, of learning how to do practice accounts and then managing 200 sets of accounts a year, working 40 hours a week at least, just in the business, having no time to work on the business, having a wife and 3 kids and 2 other businesses? No, I wouldn't. I think that would burn me the fuck out. Would I take the option of buying cash at a discount, improving a system, and then selling it on? A million times.
When you table it with that phrase, what do you mean specifically about cash at a discount?
Okay.
From an economics perspective,
So the book value of this business, after all of the deductions from the contraction of services based on other people leaving, right? We're getting 550 grand in revenue.
Yeah.
Of which 350 is net profit.
335.
Sure. Let me use for that's sake, right? Okay. Well, the total purchase price of the business that you will have to pay is a grand total of what? 310, 320? How much are you going to pay for this business that does 350 grand?
He wants 97 cents on the dollar.
Okay. So hang on.
Yeah.
So if you gave me $4.85 and I gave you $5, are you buying that $5 at a discount?
Yeah.
That's cash at a discount.
Marginally. Okay.
right? But you take cash at a discount 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. You are literally not paying the fair value of the thing. So why wouldn't you take it? Okay, I'll rationalize this in poker terms. Do you play poker?
Not
Do you
really.
understand poker?
Yeah, no, yeah. I've been to Thursday poker night. It's just
okay, right. So, for example, let's say that the entire table, right, of 6 people, has all put in the big blind, right? Let's say that the big blind is 10 for, again, easy math sake. So you're looking at 65 in a pot because the small blind is 5, right? Let's make it even easier. Let's just round it out. Let's call it 60, right? 60 people, or 6 people have put in 10 each, means 60 in the pot. You have the option to raise. Okay, well, if you raise as the last person to act, and you raise it to, let's say, 30, so you 3x the big blind, there are going to be some people around the table, let's say 3 of them, who thought they could limp in, and I don't really know if this is worthwhile for me. But I'm gonna chance it. Okay, cool. Well, at that point, you clear out half of the table. So that means that your $30 bet into a $60 bet, which is half of the pot, has cleared out 3 opponents. Okay. Well, the other 2 on the table call you. So you've now inflated the pot, and now instead of it being $60 that you could total win as of right now, you've now inflated that up to 30, 30, 30, 90 plus the original the 30, 40, wherever it is, right? So the pot is now 2x at least, if not even more than that. Yeah. Okay. Well, as the betting continues, it gets all the way down to the final street, right? And one of the other players that's folded out is just you 2. He checks to you. The pot is worth, let's say, 2,500 at this point. You put in a bet of 500, having mid pair. I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along, so this is probably whatever, right? You put in 500 into a $6,000 pot, so 1/12 of the total pot size. You are convinced that this other player has nothing. If he folds at that point, you've bought a $6,000 pot for 500, right? If he calls and he wins, you've lost it for the sake of not putting in more money, right? If you put in 4,000 into that 6,000 pot, is that going to scare him off if he has nothing, or maybe something but not a very good something? Yes. Still bought cash at a discount because it cost you 4,000 to buy 6,000. Make sense? Okay. You are in the same situation here where you're being offered something that has a value of 1, and you are getting it for 3 cents less. So every single dollar you spend, you are getting more than $1 back. How high is that a return on spend? Not particularly, but it's still cash at a discount. Yeah. Well, now let's say you don't have to do any of the menial, manual, mechanical work, and you pay for that work to be done through the existing net profit. Okay. So now you lose 50 grand a year. Well, if net profit is 350, we know it's not. It's, fucking 300 or whatever. You lose that money, yes, but you now have an asset that works without your mechanical necessity and only your strategic and operational. So you make comparably less money, yes, but you now don't have to do the thing. You're still buying it at a discount because you're using profit to do that mechanical thing. Well, then if you do that, you now have, let's use actual numbers. You said it was 330, right? Net profit. Okay. Then you said 36K for 2 accountants. Okay. So that brings it down to a smidge under 300 grand in net profit. Okay, cool. The moment that you productize this and you use automation and you use a bunch of the shit that you already know of, that Josh wants to do within Amped,
Mm.
and you make them a client of Amped, realistically, if Josh got carte blanche to do whatever AI shit he wants to do, how much would Amped charge them a month? 5K? 10K? What?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Last one went out at 10.
Fine. So let's do 10K. So you now lose 120 grand in net profit. But you then gain 5x the operational efficiency and you reduce headcount. Okay, so instead of paying 120 grand, let's say that because of the savings, you knock off 2 staff members or 3 staff members. Okay, you probably saved 50 grand. So now you've reduced it by 70 grand. Okay?
Yeah.
So now you were at 295 or whatever it is. You now do 220.
Yeah.
Now the business runs infinitely better and requires even less strategic insight and operational insight from you. So your hours reduce. Fine. So then that 220 goes in your pocket at the end of the year. But now instead of it costing you 200 sets of accounts, plus the time required to fiddle around and do operations and do strategy and do blah, 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 it costs you 5 hours a week. So now for 250 hours a year, sorry, you make $220,000. So now you're basically at $1,000 an hour, plus minus.
Yeah.
Is that worth it to buy cash at a discount? Of course it is. Of course it is. Because as of right now, do you make $1,000 an hour? Right? So you have the license to buy money at a lower value than you can buy it on the market. That's a smart move. You have all of the skills and required talent to hire in foreign staff, because that's what AMPS does.
Yeah.
So you'll haircut the actual amount you pay on payroll. Okay, so you're also, again, buying money at a discount. Okay, fine. You then have operational and strategic understanding from the business that you currently run that is focused on helping, to Joshua's point, accountancies are our bread and butter. We would absolutely love to have carte blanche to do whatever we wanted. Great. Here's 10 grand for the trouble. So you're feeding one to feed the other. So another synergy that reduces your amount of time spent to zero, because you've now hired in people at a discount to do the actual manual work. You're using the existing skills you have to streamline and operationalize the business, reducing your amount of work. And at the end of the day, you'll be left with less money. But that's under the premise that there's zero acquisition.
Yeah.
Buy money at a discount.
Do you think there's a baseline where it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, if you were doing 200 sets of fucking accounts a year.
Sorry. No, I'm from a free cash flow perspective. Say I'd this is just theorizing. Say that bringing in offshore resource and committing to some automation stuff, and then obviously you've got the acquisition liabilities to pay back and your profit and loss, but they're coming off the balance sheet. And there's $5,000 a month left surplus.
Yeah.
Is it worth the trouble? I suppose that's a personal question, isn't it? But
agreed, 100%. Yeah. Is it worth the trouble?
Yeah.
Do you currently have $5,000 of free money lying around?
No.
Would $5,000 of free money change your life?
Yeah.
Then the answer is still yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you have to think about this from the perspective of why am I doing this, right? If you ended up with 10 bar and a packet of crisps at the end of it, I'd say, yeah, it's probably not worthwhile. But if it is a meaningful enough amount of money where you look at it and go, you know what, the extra work that this is required in the short term, yeah, $5,000 is not a lot of money. But over the next 36 months, that $5,000 turns into $7,000, into $10,000, into $12,000, then it becomes infinitely more worthwhile.
Yeah.
But if you don't operationalize it, if you don't hire externally, if you don't do all of the things we just talked about, yeah, you're short back and fucked.
Okay.
So yes, this does make sense within a set of given constraints that you as a business owner, not Alex the wannabe accountant, has to play within. This is a cash flowing vehicle. This is not a vehicle for you to find your purpose.
And that's how I viewed it when it first came around.
Yeah, because you're trying to find your purpose.
Hmm.
And you're using things, again, outside of you to enable
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So change the mindset. Put it this way. If I came to you and said, here, I'm going to sell you this Ferrari for 10 grand, would you buy it? Brand new, off the lot Ferrari.
Yeah.
Why? Do you have 10 grand liquid right now that you can spunk on a supercar?
No, I'd borrow
Why?
and fucking sell it straight away.
Right. Why?
Because that's I perceive that as like a no-brainer way of moving the needle.
Why? What are you buying?
Cash at a discount.
A discount, right? You're buying, you know exactly what a brand new off the lot Ferrari costs,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it might depreciate 50% in fucking value the moment it comes off the lot. But even if it does, if you buy a $500,000 car,
yeah,
and the moment that it steps off the lot, it's now 250 grand, but you only paid 50 for it. Well, if you can sell it for 200, you still make 150 grand of free money.
Yeah.
Right? So you're buying cash at a discount, irrespective of all of the other moving pieces. And then it's like, oh, but I want to make 250 grand off it. Well, you currently don't have 250 grand sitting around, and some money is absolutely better than no money when you have no money, right? So in your situation where you've put 500,000 into the dumpling business, you've got amped to the point where it can scale. Yeah, absolutely. You are making the right plays. But if you have something that cash flows, that you buy for a cash flow purpose, make it fucking cash flow.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
If this was easy, how would you do it? If you were building this and buying this so it was easy, how would you do it?
What do you mean? I wouldn't do anything different to what I've planned to do.
Okay, which is what?
Hold this conversation, which is buy it, systemize it, resource it. I do want to grow it.
Okay, great. How would you grow it? If it was easy, how would you grow it?
I'd come up with like a shit hot, tradie focused offer.
Okay.
And fleece that around our local dwelling, and then I would engage. I'd want to bring in. I want to bring in a financial planner.
Great. Do that then. Your life is easier as hard as you make it.
Yeah.
Just do those things.
Sick.
Next week, we're talking about why you're burnt out.
If I survive the week. Maybe if I don't send 400 texts on a Monday, that would be great.
You need to figure out how to make that.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
Can't. I've done some thorough research since our conversation. And New Zealand has the strictest marketing SMS laws in the fucking planet.
Have they opted in?
Huh?
Have they opted in?
They've requested more information on Meta, which I've passed through to a few. So we've got to apply for something with some fucking SMS carrier in New Zealand. It has to be a short code. I'm not sure what that is. Like low volume short code, and can take 3 to 6 months to actually activate and get into play. And I'm like, we've not got 6 months. Like we need this, and we need people closing in the next month. So I've resorted to manual texting.
Right.
No, I have. We've looked at it in depth, but it's just with the whole anti-spam stuff in New Zealand, it's really, really hard. Well, it's impossible, basically.
More operational things to mull over.